you saw the last episode of the finale.
Yes, I did. I'm caught up, bro, thankfully.
Thank God.
I was very good with this show. Up to date, didn't miss a week. Was watching within the 2-3 hour frame of it launching and dropping. So I've been really good with it. I really enjoyed it. I know there's a lot of hate right now. Supposedly people are saying that it flopped. I saw some Twitter headlines this morning.
What do you mean?
And it was trending, and I thought that was like the furthest from the truth. I thought that, like I said from the first episode that we recorded, that it's all been about the king dying and what happens, and then that's the setup for season 2. And that's exactly what they did. They ended right before we get to how this affects the rest of the world. We got the death. We found out how it happened right after, how the exchange of power went, all the moves that everyone was working on making. We saw it play out. Now, end the season, season 2, here we go. Start the war. I think it's going to be, it's an amazing setup, and it's going to set up for season 2 to be so, just start out with a huge bang, dude.
True. I don't get the hate. Maybe like a critique or a wish was like, okay, I wish it was more intense. Or like something like that. Like I wish it was more of a, which I still think it's very climactic of an quote unquote ending for the finale, but maybe they wanted like it to end on like a more of a cliffhanger than it already was, which I think it ended well. Some like theatrically end pretty nice, great part to like pick up and then see where it picks up from this. I think it's going to be super interesting. I really enjoyed it. But I get it. Maybe they wanted more of like the battle or the start of it or something, you know? Like maybe, I don't know, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed like the view and kind of like the film aspect of it, like how that ending shot and everything. I think their choices were really well done. I think from what I've seen, people who have read the books, it's been pretty good. So I don't understand if there's hate for it. I enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the experience. The only thing I'm mad about is that it says like apparently it's 2 years from now is the next season, and that to me is a freaking.
I didn't know that.
I think it's 2024.
Damn.
And so for me, I get very frustrated watching a show knowing that there's like long breaks.
Right.
Because especially because when I first watched Game of Thrones, I did it as a binge and then watched the last season live. And so I enjoy Breaking Bad. I watched all in one go. I didn't watch when it like happened.
Same.
I get very frustrated with waiting because it takes away the the hype. It takes away from like the experience to me. Like I want to watch it and know what's happening. Because then I like say for example this comes out next 2 years. A lot of like the traction's gone, so then I have to either rewatch or do something like that, and then that just takes more time and more dedication. And that's usually when, if it's not really good and it doesn't meet up to my expectations, I lose the connection to the series.
Right. Yeah, 2 years is a lot. I could do a year. 2 years is a lot. Yeah, that'll be interesting.
I wonder how they're going to play it out.
I wonder how they'll play it out. I wonder how much of the audience stays excited. I wonder how and if they're going to launch another show in between, because that could potentially hold people over enough to be distracted about, okay, here comes another Game of Thrones universe show. Oh, by the time it's over, we only got another year. So that might be the plan. I wouldn't imagine that there's no plan between now and then if that's the case, if it drops in 2 years.
Do you think that well, people who are watching this know there's going to be some type of spoiler, right? Because they're watching something about House of the Dragon. What did you think of like how it's played out so far with between the blacks and the greens? And what team are you?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know if I've processed really picking a side yet so much. I feel like I've just been a spectator. But if I think about it now, it's a good question, man. Here, let me think it through. But I do know that I like how things have unfolded.
What
for
team
the most
do you prefer?
part.
Maybe what team you prefer more, and which one do you think might win? Because both of us have not read the book, so we don't have like a preconceived notion of this is the defined winner by the books or whatever. But if you were to pick a team or a side that you like more, right? I envision everyone likes the same team I do, but I could be very wrong, and it could just people have preferences. But I see the heroes as Team Black. Like they're the right ones. She was supposed to be queen. This is all because she misheard, and everyone names their kids freaking Aegon, which is stupid. And yeah, the greens are just wrong, incorrect. Just no. Just yeah, that's it. There's like not like a, and I can't. That's why I'm asking you, because if you do say greens, I haven't really talked to many people who've seen them.
No, I don't think I'm on their side. I don't think I'm rooting for them. Will they win? I'm not. I think the problem is the dragon. And we saw at the end of the episode that
Vagar?
Yeah.
Being the biggest.
He is the biggest, strongest dragon. And it's on their side. And clearly it made a little dragon look like a freaking ant.
Dude,
so
the way it chopped him up.
That's what I'm saying. So, and it was very, very... They made it a point throughout the episode talking about dragons. And throughout the show, it being about dragons, having the number of dragons is very important. Mm-hmm. It gives you power. So I think that's going to be in play. And seeing how insane Vagar is, I think it's, as far as who's going to win, it's a toss-up for me. I'm on Team Rhaenyra. I've always been from the beginning. I think she deserves the throne. Yeah. And anyone that claims her name is on my side. That's who I'm rooting for. That's why I want to win. Yeah, will they win? Definitely. I'm not sure. Yeah, Team Black.
Okay, yeah. I don't think they win in general. Like from you can you hear things that's more mentioned Game of Thrones, even, but I do hope they win. Like I do want Rhaenyra to win as well. There is like when it comes to dragons though, like isn't there's that whole scene with what's his face? Daemon getting the other dragon, like the
yeah.
Whatever. I don't know their names, man, to be honest, but that one.
Don't even ask me, bro. Come on.
Yeah.
Don't even.
Don't
start with names, please.
Yeah. But like there's all that too. So I think that there's potential for like good fights. I thought it was interesting that they made it clear that the dragons don't always like there was a cool thing showing where like Viserys mentions, like he says to Rhaenyra, you know, the idea that we control the dragons is an illusion.
Mm-hmm.
And so he says that early in the series when Rhaenyra was still young, before one of the time jumps,
mm-hmm.
like the big time jump. And I believe it was before the time jump, so it's like it's an illusion that we control the dragons. And then you see that scene, and he's like, "No, Vagar, no!" And he just chomps him.
Right.
And then even, man, I feel so bad that I forget his name, but Lucerys, whatever his name is, Lucerys or whatever the kid's name, that got chomped, and Syrax, the dragon.
Yeah.
He also was like, "No, listen to me." And so both dragons weren't listening to the masters because they. Mm-hmm. From what I understand is like they also feed off your emotion. So like if you're in that emotional status too, they're like kind of syncing with you. So even though you might be telling them yes or no, do something, they're still doing stuff kind of after. It's kind of like having a dog, right. I would imagine. You have a dog, you can tell him yes or no, but if he can sense that you're scared, he might attack someone because he senses in you.
Right.
Something.
Right.
That's how I foresee it. That's like how I see the connection with a dragon or any animal. It's like you can control it to a certain extent.
Do you think that there's a possibility that dragons can find new riders? Just thinking hypothetically of like being able to steal people's dragons. I wonder if
Vagar came from Vagar was what's her face's,
right,
and
but
then
her master died.
True. I'm not sure if Vagar's a he or she, but I feel like it's a he.
Or sorry, yeah.
But yeah, I got you. That's true. The master did die, and then that could be in part reason why it lets go. But I feel like
a free agent ready to find a new.
But I feel like you have to domesticate it. Like it could have went really badly for Aemond or anyone who wants to get it. You know, I don't think you can just freely take it. I feel like there has to be some type of an exchange of like, it's kind of like you having a dog and not just be like, you can come here to my house and my dog might not like you. Whereas, you know, it knows me. And then there are certain people that like maybe can get a better connection with him. And maybe one day he can be good with them. But right now, because he's always with us, he's definitely my dog and my wife's dog. But like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I feel like the same with like a beast like that. If it's depending on how it's trained and interacts with its last person, its next person could be successful or not with them. Yeah. I don't think there's a lot of mysticism. They speak a certain language to it. There's like a certain thought process behind it, but it's definitely like animals, I would imagine. Domesticating animals.
Do you know if that scene at the end of the episode where the dragon kills the other one, was that in the books?
No, yeah, there's a book in the books he does kill him, but I don't know if it was like that because I mean I read Instagram posts about this stuff a lot, and so
Yeah, I've
I
been
just
seeing
don't
some
know.
TikToks and stuff.
I don't know if it's exactly that way, but I know that that's like from the books, like that fight,
Hmm.
the Sapphire Eye, which I thought was fire. Him showing that Sapphire Eye, it was kind of dope, looking like aesthetic. Um, but yeah, I don't know how exactly to the books that was, but I know that's pretty similar. I
Hmm.
also love the use of High Valerian when they're talking, and he's like
Yeah.
Toba, like man, I love that whole scene, and I like them using it more. I think we got a bit of it. We got more Dothraki in Game of Thrones than we did
Yeah,
Valerian speak. So I like seeing more Valerian. I think it's cool.
I do too. I've
I
always
really
liked
want
when shows and stuff do that, have their own
I really
language.
want them to do like I want them to do the like they always talk about Old Valeria. I want to see Old Valeria really badly.
Hmm.
Like I get Westeros, but if they were to do a prequel that shows them before like the Targaryens, because they always say, "Oh, that was the down of." They even mention like the dragons, what gave us power, but they're also what brought us down
Right.
from Valeria. So it's like, okay, what happened in Valeria that made them come there? Can we see that? I'm sure there's books on this. I just haven't read the books to know, but I'm sure there's books about like some of the stuff there and the history there. But it's really cool. It's kind of like talking about, you know, the pilgrims coming to America, and we always talk about the old country, but we like, what is the old country? Can I know more about it? It's always that thing where it's like, okay, what was Valeria like? What was it like a place that everyone's like the Targaryens, everyone's like the Valerians, and everyone has freaking dragons and all this stuff? It seems way interesting, right? So I really want to see that. And so when they talk Valerian, I'm like, cool, this is like more of that world that I care more about. I'm tired of Westeros,
Hmm.
personally.
Hopefully they
Yeah.
hear that pitch because I would love that too. I think that would be sick. Seeing the
It'd be super
dragons
cool.
everywhere and finding out how they first captured them, trained them, how they lived
Yeah.
among them, who was in power, how did that play out?
I think it'd be really cool.
Yeah.
So if you were to rate um the series so far, what do you think so far? Like, is it
Out of 10.
better than season 1 of Game of Thrones? You feel, or worse?
Oof, you
You could
know
rate it out
what?
of 10. Or say it's better or worse than
I
season
would
one.
say House of the Dragons was more exciting, and I felt more anticipation going to season 2,
Mm.
probably. I think I enjoyed it more throughout. I feel like it was a great ride. I mentioned this from the beginning. I felt like it started hot
Yeah, yeah.
and has always throughout every episode, tons of action, tons of drama, tons of plays and moves. Yeah, I think overall I'd probably say House of the Dragons over Game of Thrones season 1, but not like saying Game of Thrones wasn't good. That's not what I'm saying.
Very
I'm
true.
just saying better. Better by
Mm.
maybe point 0.1, point 0.2, not by a large measure, but I think from the beginning to the end of House of Dragons season 1, yeah. I'll stay with that. I feel confident
Like
in
that.
that. What do you think? I have to
I
rewatch it though. I was thinking about doing it recently. I was like, Bella,
rewatching
we
Game of
should do
Thrones.
it. Just season 1 at least, just to remind me.
To compare like how it started,
Yeah,
because
have a
we're
little bit
mentioning
of.
like, oh yeah, it was like this. By the way, so off topic because you know how my brain works. I while you were speaking, I went to go drink my coffee, and so if you see me looking down for a second, it's because I
You
spilled coffee.
spilled.
Oh, everywhere, which is great for.
We can take a small break.
Oh no, I'm fine. It adds to the excitement of me watching it just there, just
Just
sitting there and adding smoke.
destroying your desk or your computer. Is it
Oh no, it's
falling on shit?
so. Oh, I went on my mouse, and then I cleaned off the mouse right now, and then right now it's just sitting. It's pretty
Damn,
level.
bro.
It's
You
pretty
did
level.
that sly. I didn't even notice.
Yeah, I want to play this back later and see how if my facial reaction changed or not, or if I have like like solid poker
Check
face.
the tape.
Like I want to check the tape back later. I'm like, okay, my poker face is 10 out of 10 because no one knew I spilled coffee until I
No,
mentioned it.
I saw you looking down, but I didn't think something fell over. I would
Oh
have
no,
expected a
it's just
shocked face.
it's like so you see this cup here.
Yeah.
It's like a
Nice cup.
decent amount, like about 25% of this filled with coffee, and it's just sitting in a puddle here. But it's not like my MacBook's elevated, so I'm not touching that. The keyboard's here. It's on like the leather one, so it's like
Yeah.
stayed in place. So it's not like it's continuously to spill. If it was like on the wood, I might have been more worried. Or if it was spilling into my keyboard, I'm like, hey, maybe we should take a break. But no, outside of that, I think it's doing well. I do like this a little bit more than season one that I recall watching. Um, and one thing I do appreciate about this series more than I do Game of Thrones, actually, specifically, way less like penises and like nudity.
Yes,
Because the
way
nudity was
less.
crazy in Game of Thrones. Like, it was unnecessary nudity to an extent. To like almost sell the show. I think maybe that was like pitch, or maybe freaking what's his name? Not George Lucas. J.R. Tolkien. Is it R. Tolkien? Whatever it is.
J.R. Tolkien, Lord of the Rings,
No. Oh,
Tolkien.
sorry. No. Who's this guy? The
I don't.
writer of
A fucking. That's who you were thinking of, George R. R. Martin.
George R. R. Martin. I said R. R. Tolkien. I mixed him up.
Nicholas Cage.
Yeah, he gets inspiration from it. Nicolas Cage is the best, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's actually the mastermind behind this. But I think he also was like co-signing that in the beginning. I don't know. It's just a lot of nudity in the first like seasons of Game of Thrones. Towards the end, I think it stopped, and I liked the more substance, the lack of a need for nudity. And this, I don't recall seeing direct nudity like much at all. There's a few scenes with like the whorehouses, and very few. But you don't
even
see
then within the context, like it's expected.
Yeah, within the context. In Game of Thrones, I think I saw every single like almost every single main character's nudity. Like think about Daenerys. The first thing that we see Daenerys is her just camera first, naked. Whereas freaking I didn't see Rhaenyra naked. I haven't seen any of them really naked.
No.
I don't think. And if it is, it's like when she was at the whorehouse, I see like you see parts, but not like full frontal, just
No.
at it. Where Game of Thrones was like that, and it was. I could watch this on the plane. Watching Game of Thrones on the plane was like uncomfortable, depending who's on around you.
Yeah.
Like you have it on your iPad out or your MacBook, or like just full screen, and you're watching Game of Thrones. It's like, hopefully there's no children around me. I don't want to feel awkward. People are gonna think I'm watching something that I'm not watching because there's some intense scenes. And in this, I haven't felt like that ever. Like I could play this and not feel like uncomfortable around people.
What's funny? I actually dealt with that recently when I was coming back from Italy. Remember that freaking trip that I had and that flight that was horrible. Anyways, on that trip, it was like a 10-hour flight. I watched 300, and I'm like, oh wait, there's a few like nudity scenes. And
like questionable.
Yeah, and there was one that I wasn't as long as I remember. And I just
is it the worst? You're like, wait, was this like that intense, bro? Like really?
Yeah, I had to skip it. I started getting paranoid. I was like, I can't even watch this. I'm just watching the aisles.
No, yeah, because you feel like everyone thinks you're a psychopath too. And you're like,
you're fucking watching.
No, this is not. Yeah, like
porn on the plane, you psycho.
You're just worried a flight attendant's gonna come up to you and be like, "Sir, can you please remove the pornography from like your screen or something?" Like, just walks up to you, "Sir, would you mind? We've had some people complain about the scenes on your TV, on your laptop." Yeah. I watched House of Gucci for the first time on the plane.
Oh.
And I'm not sure if you ever watched it, but Adam Driver and Lady Gaga have like a very, like, it's not like intense where you're seeing a lot, but like what's happening. It's like the filming and just them basically like, imagine Adam Driver with his insane face and Lady Gaga with her interest, like personality, and you know that they're doing it, and like you don't see nudity, but you see them literally just thrusting, like breaking in, like in an office, just wrecking it. And I was like, I can't watch this. I have to stop this. I can't watch a show like a movie like this because I don't know what more of this is. And even though it's not direct like nudity, it was intense. You know, it's just like you just see the angle of like dot, 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 dot. I'm like, yeah, I cannot. Like, there's children around me, bro. Like the freak. People think I'm a psychopath. This is not happening. Which the reason why we got into was House of Dragon did not have that. Where Game of Thrones, I mean, Mel, my wife didn't even want to watch Game of Thrones mainly because of the unnecessary nudity and the violence. Like those are two things where she was like, I don't like violence. There's too much violence, and I don't like the intent, like amounts of nudity. And I was like, okay, I understand you on the nudity part. I don't care. I don't mind if there's violence. I'm more about like if it's important, not senseless violence, but like important. So the violence didn't get me, but the nudity, I was like, yeah, I could skip the nudity on Game of Thrones. A lot of it was unnecessary. Like I would say 95% of it. Showing Cersei and Jaime makes sense. They're married, or they're brother and sister. Having them have a sex scene, makes sense to showcase like what's happening and what's happening behind the scenes. But the nudity of like the amount of characters was just insane in that show.
Yeah, I think they just wanted to go more unfiltered with that one. Like they just wanted to go further
I think it was
on that scale. It was a little bit more, you know, they were reaching for that. I
think the timing of it, like when it came out, what would draw attention, and like it definitely got people talking about it. And I think it still would have been a great show independent of that, but maybe they were worried and they needed, like, because towards the end you don't have as much as that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I mean, that's usually the play. That's usually why there is nudity, because numbers go up.
Yeah, it grabs. Yeah, I mean, people want to watch freaking Emily Blunt be naked. Is Emily Blunt right?
No.
Or Daenerys. It's not Emily Blunt.
No. Emily Blunt is John Krasinski's wife, I think. Her name is
something.
Bella's gonna kill me because she loves her. Fuck.
I think she's great too. I'm just terrible with names.
I don't remember. You always do this, bro. You're like, oh yeah, so what's her name? And then you put me on the spot. You know I don't know names.
But you know I don't know names.
I know like, when you're like really off.
That's some names. What's her name? It's not Emily Blunt, is it? I think it's Emily Blunt. No.
No, dude. There's no way. Look it up. It's taking you that long?
Amelia Clark.
Amelia Clark.
I got the like Emily, Amelia.
No.
Like that's close enough. That's close enough for me.
No credit on that one.
On my amount of names that I've gotten wrong, I feel like I got a pass on this one. This one was pretty good.
No.
It's not as bad as freaking.
No.
What was that one where I was like Cox Cockleton? No, what was his name?
McLaughlin, the freaking kid from Home Alone. He called him John something. I don't know. It was just so bad.
Like John McLaughlin or something like that. Man.
That one is so bad. I don't even remember what his real name is. You confused me even more, dude. Like, dude. Now I'm blanking on his name. I don't remember what his fucking name is.
I can't remember his name, dude. I can't remember anyone's name. When I remember an actor's name,
dude.
Like I know that Matt Smith, right? It's Matt Smith that plays Damon, and he's my favorite.
No,
like, his name is Matt Smith.
No, that is his name. But
okay. Who's your favorite character so far from the series? Again, that's a good question, I guess.
Who's my favorite character? Probably the king.
Mine's Damon. Viserys.
No, Viserys. Yeah, bro. Damon's overrated.
Really?
Come on, bro.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Most interesting, ton of screen time. He had probably one of the largest arcs out of anyone in the show. We got to see him from taking over the throne to dying. Yeah, I think we just spent a lot of time with him, seeing him be king and deal with the politics. And he was very strong, wise, became even more wise as he grew older and grew through his mistakes. I just felt like he was the most developed character probably from season 1.
Is Patty Wellington or whatever his name is? Patty Caddington, or I think something
Paddington.
Like that. His name Paddington? There's no freaking way his name
Paddington's
Paddington.
The Winnie the Pooh from England.
No. True, but the guy who plays King Viserys is like something Paddington or Patty Killington.
Dude, stop with the names. Stop asking. Please.
No, it's like
please. I'm
Paddington or
begging
something
you.
like that. No, it's Paddington or something. It's Patty Constantine, something like that. That's his name. I know it's Patty something. Not Paddington.
Are you looking it up? Because I need you to verify.
I wanted to look it up. Let me see.
No, now look it up because now I need to fucking know, dude.
Patty Constantine.
Patty Constantine.
Yeah, whatever his last name. I just know the person's cool Patty. Name. Amazing acting. He's also in Peaky Blinders. He's in a couple things, and I like his acting a lot. And I think he portrayed the character well. I really like Damon. I really like Aemond. And right now, those are my two favorite characters, and they're basically like the same person. So that's how I feel. I'm also, again, you know who I am. I'm the anti-hero.
I know you're the anti-hero, but I don't feel like I just would argue against your own opinion. I don't think that. I think Damon has been planted the seeds of a good anti-hero. I just don't think he's developed enough for you to say that he's the best character in season 1.
my favorite character. It's not the best character.
Okay,
It's my
okay,
favorite
okay.
character.
Best character then.
Yeah, best character like portrayal and done is either Rhaenyra
Everything,
or King
acting,
Viserys. King
everything.
Viserys. King Viserys. He's the most consistent one. Showed up the most times. Yeah, obviously from like portrayal wise, yeah, I think him. But in terms of characters I like, I guess is a more proper statement
Yeah.
for Daemon and Aemond. And I like Daemon's. They cut some scenes from him. They were supposed to show him crying on the like beaches when he lost his daughter. It was supposed to show him
I think there's
having like emotional moments. Those are cut scenes, unfortunately.
very unfortunate.
Mhm.
Big scenes that being cut from the show is kind of tough because you
Yeah.
can't really make that up. But I do think he's probably going to get more screen time, of course, because now he's in the middle of the war and he's a war general. So in season 2, we're going to get him
He's insane. But one of my
full
favorite
force.
scenes was him going freaking wild at the beach.
Mhm.
Like that was one of my favorite scenes where he just tricks. He does the fake with a sword, and he does
Mhm.
the fake hey, I'm giving up, and then just freaking goes
Surrender.
berserk. Yeah, I love that. And I think I like that he has that duality of you hate him and love him. He does terrible things, and then he also does some great things. Like
By the way, speaking of terrible things, choking the shit out of Rhaenyra.
yeah, that was kind of interesting, huh?
That
didn't expect that.
was very unexpected. Immediately changed even more how I felt about him. Even more conflicted than I thought. Even more like, it is that day and age, I guess, but I just didn't pin him to be disrespectful or like deep into his emotions in that kind of way, like being aggressive towards family and wife. So unexpected, yeah, definitely crazy.
It was weird for me because I like him a lot, and you know what it is? It's like there are certain things that I don't care, like evil people can do. A villain is typically like there's that saying where it's like you know why you like the hero? It's because, or you know why you like the villain over the hero? It's because the villain will choose you over the world, will save you instead of the world, and the hero will save the world instead of you, right? That's like the whole idea. And that moment of him like choking her out didn't feel like that. It's the same thing with me. I rewatched Wolf of Wall Street one day. I just had it on while I was working, just playing in the background. And then I remember like I've always liked Wolf of Wall Street and kind of what he did. I didn't really care. And then I saw him punch. I forgot the scene. Like I forgot this was a thing. Saw him gut punch his wife or Margot Robbie in the movie when they're like fighting. And I was like, the freak? Like it makes me immediately not care. He killed his ex-wife, and I didn't like that. Didn't affect me at all. But him choking up Rhaenyra, I was like, "Oh, that's gross." Him killing his ex-wife, fine, chill,
And clearly
like,
hurting her, not just like, don't fuck with me. Like he was strangling the shit out of her.
Yeah, he showed her like, I don't know. There's a lot of emotion going on and a lot of shit happening, right? So I'm not sure what was the thought behind that. Like, and if you were to enter like where he's at, but it didn't seem to me like the Daemon. It seemed off character almost. That's why I think that what I've heard was he's like the perfect exemplification of like good and bad of like the Targaryens, like the honorable and the crazy, and like the good and the bad. Which is obviously shown because I loved him when he was like, at the bridge, and he's like, I'd rather have my kids like burned by dragons or eaten by dragons than to serve your cunt of a king or something like that. Usurper, cunt of a king, and I love that. I was like, yeah, that choking scene. I'm like, ugh, that makes me feel like I shouldn't like you. Like I feel bad that I like you. So it's a hard. I like that they did that though. It makes me feel weird, and if you can mess with my thought process. Like if a series makes you like
Agreed.
the bad guy, it's really good for me.
Or hate the bad guy. Have any deep emotions towards a character. Yeah.
One of my most hated books and most loved books that I have is called Catcher in the Rye because the main character makes me so frustrated. And so like that book is like the first time I had a book and I read it and I was like, oh, like I really want to punch this person in the face. And like I had a real emotion from the book. And with House of the Dragon, I think that Daemon is making me feel emotions in that way. Rhaenyra too, because Rhaenyra, I'm like, stop being stupid, especially in the beginning,
Oh my god. And it never
Yeah.
got better,
No, I
unfortunately.
never did. Unfortunately, it just big L's. Either being naive, I don't know what it is. It was just not didn't make sense to me because you
She
imagine this.
just wasn't led the right way, dude. She just literally made probably every wrong decision for the most part.
Yeah, a lot of them. Um, Stupid moves, man. You know, I would really like to see though. I know that the books have their own things, but you know how what's his face never died. Um,
Who?
her ex-husband technically never died. He like escaped.
Right.
I wonder if he comes back because it would be interesting to see if he came back and then like
Now that there's a war, probably he could come back. She could just
yeah.
demand that he comes back because now it. But I
I
don't
mean, if
know
she
if she'd
finds him,
want to have that problem with Damon. That'd be kind of weird, potentially.
I mean, Damon was part of it, right? So like, I don't know.
Yeah, but now he's married to her, and that's like
It's true.
her ex with 3 kids. Is like kind of complicated.
Yeah, I mean, all of this is very complicated when you look at it.
Yeah,
Like,
clearly.
it's super weird, man. The whole like betrothing, like even like Aegon's married to his freaking sister.
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing to like marry your niece or your like even those, and it's like not. Let's do brother and sister. I'm like, the freak is wrong with you? Like, I get it's a series and all these things, but I'm like, that's weird. Like, I get the whole keeping the bloodline thing pure in like
But
royalty.
at least it's accurate, man. Like this is literally what happened. What they would do for.
This is what happened in the series, and this is what happened freaking when you look at like England and their like royal system. It's just a bunch of people that inbred.
Yeah.
It's basically Alabama. Just
Whoa, listen.
they
Might
just
have some
well,
people from Alabama listening.
hey, and that's fine too. We live in a free country. You're allowed to mess around with your cousins and your sisters and brothers if you'd like to.
Is
There's plenty of
Alabama like the home base for people that do incest or something?
Do you not know that?
No.
Have you not heard of this like stereotype where it's like
No.
you never seen that where it's like, oh, this is my sister, and it's like sweet home Alabama. You never seen those memes?
No.
Oh, it's a whole thing. Literally,
No.
so even like it's so much of a thing that it's like the Florida man. If you see a psychopath and you just type in, it's the Florida man. You ever see
Right.
that too?
I think I've seen
Like if you
that.
type in your birthday, type in Florida man and then your birthday, or like your birthday and then Florida man, and then you see what psycho thing happened that day. And there's always something like Florida man marries an alligator. Florida man does this, and Alabama they have incest.
I I have never heard of that, but I will look it up for sure.
It's a very common thing.
That's a very common thing.
Yeah, like it's like Atlanta. You were in Atlanta.
Yeah.
What's their thing? Peaches.
Beaches, good food,
Yeah,
music.
in Alabama they have incest.
Nice, sick.
Yeah, it's like Game of Thrones, except no dragons, kingdoms, or any of the cool stuff. Incest.
Just incest.
The incest and poverty. That's pretty much what they took.
Sick, dude. Sick. Sounds like a great fucking time.
If there's anyone from Alabama here, they already hate me. Which is
Hate you.
fine.
Fucking
It's
hate you.
fine.
I hate you.
By the way, I know that we talked about House of Dragon and we can beat that in. Did you get the chance to see? Did you finish Dahmer yet or no?
No, 2 more episodes down. I have
2 more episodes done. So which one are you on right now?
I have 4 left. I think I'm on episode 6.
Okay.
The last thing that I saw, I texted you that he drank the blood. That scene was
Yeah, so you took your own
fucking
caps.
shocking. Me and Bella were sitting there just. She's screaming, "Ah! Ah! I can't watch!" Covering her eyes. I had to text you because I couldn't even watch anymore. Just so.
Really?
Oh my god, bro! It's just like, and I had a shot earlier that day, so I had like watched my blood go through the thing.
Oh, like an actress.
Yeah, so it was like full circle moment for me, and I was like, this is just not what I need to be seeing right now.
Okay. $1,000. Would you do it?
No.
10 grand.
How much of it am I drinking?
As much
A
as you can
sip
stomach.
or as
Yo,
much as
full
he
bag.
did? Because he did like,
Yo, he did a lot.
dude, and
Yeah.
he was like,
Yeah. He was feeling it. Also,
holy shit, bro.
one thing I didn't get is like, why did he be so like? I don't know. I have never.
Bro, it
consumed blood
turned
like
him
that.
on, man. He was just like,
He was feeling it, but like, why do you have to get dirty with it? Like in my mind, just put a straw in it, do it like a Capri Sun, like just
because he wasn't like,
he was like, I want to indulge in this thing. Like he wants, I want to get it messy, like like purposely eat like a baby. Just
Well,
get it all over me.
there are some psychopaths that have that kind of behavior where they're very like particular about their things and very organized and stuff like that. But he, with whatever that he was doing, would do it in excess. Like he would drink so much. He was super extra about the certain things that he loved. So I think it made sense that he just was like, give me all that fucking blood. Dude, that scene was shocking, man. That's probably one of the craziest scenes that I've ever watched in a show or movie.
Really?
And even to realize that that really happened and that he really potentially did that. I haven't done the cross-referencing yet, like to know how much of the show is accurate, but I'm assuming most of it, you know, like maybe the wording, the language, the certain things that were said, but the actions I'm assuming are pretty accurate, right?
Yeah, they probably took some inspo on some things and some like creative liberty, but I imagine most of it's pretty accurate.
So, my God, as the show is going along, I'm just realizing, Jeffrey Dahmer, dude, I don't want to like give you any praise, but you are the goat of psychos for sure. From what I've seen,
some more psychos. Yeah, but he's definitely a psycho. There's more psychos I think
top
out there.
Top 5 for sure.
Yeah.
That's disgusting, dude.
Isn't it so awkward watching him? It gives me so much anxiety watching him because he's so socially awkward and weird.
Oh my God!
I honestly don't know. You want me watching this series with Mel? It's crazy. And they touch upon this. You'll see more and more, but they touch upon this heavily about like the racial part of it. But it is crazy that he got away for so long and killed so much. Honestly, like when you see how many times he fucked up, like his first kill. You saw this first scene where he has like the hitchhiker in the back and everything. He's driving the police. Bro, he should have. If he was black, he would have been arrested that day because they would have checked him and profiled him because he's a white kid and he's like, "Oh, you've been drinking."
Well, it's been a narrative throughout the show: racism, homophobia,
and it literally is that because he should have been caught so many times. He's so bad.
Many times. But
I don't even know how people went with him. I don't even know how people went with. This is the thing. You know when guys or like I have friends who've become single recently or not single and they're like worried about, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna get a girl. I'm like, dude, you know what I almost want to have them do? Watch Dahmer. See how he picks. I mean, he's picking up guys, not necessarily girls, but I'm like, see how he's so socially awkward and still brings people back to his house.
Yep.
For some type of thing.
Yep.
There's hope for anybody.
Yep.
It's absurd.
That's the best thing you've said all week. It's so true, like, dude. I've been giving a friend of mine similar advice recently, and it's just there's someone else out there feeling the same way, as nervous, as anxious, looking to just meet someone, and you're both there at the same place, feeling the same way. If someone just talks, you never know where it leads. It just picks up, dude. It's that easy. But I wanted to say before we go into that was that one of the things that you should give him, I don't want to say credit for, but him being a pathological liar, him being so good at lying and consistent in the way that he lies. Like he's a deep pathological liar. And the way that he would never fluctuate with his emotions and in his speech, like when his dad would come up, this is the scene that I just saw. He's like, let me see the box, the one with the head in it. Boom, the 2 seconds he goes downstairs, he was so calm. Boom, no, look, Dad, I found the key. Just like, just so good at just lying as far as he can go. Just lying to the ultimate last moment of lying. He just keeps going. But I mean, it is reflected in his personality too, because even in the investigation interviews and every time he's really talking, he's super calm. But that helps with the lying because usually you can tell when someone's lying based on how their emotions fluctuate and like their mannerisms, like their eyes, the directions that they're looking in, like how are they saying it, the tone in their speech. And he just is monotone. He is just always the same when he's in his psycho state, when he's in normal state, when he's lying. He's just a constant, and that's the scariest part about him.
He's so weird. Like that's the thing. Like if I ever met a person that acted like him, I think I was talking to someone the other day, and they were from like Michigan or Wisconsin. I don't know, somewhere like central, like their area. Same speaking patterns of Dahmer. and I couldn't tell them that because obviously how like how am I supposed to? Hey man, you sound like Jeffrey Dahmer. Like I
Yeah, yeah,
can't.
yeah. Don't say that,
I
dude.
can't say that. I'm gonna
Don't say that. Definitely don't
but
say that.
it's not a good way to start the conversation. I don't think. But it like instant remind him. It's just like a weird thing, and I could not like the guy because he was talking that way. It just gives me like a unsettlingness, you know?
Yeah, and now you have a comparison in
Mm-hmm.
your mind to. It's like, oh, you remind me of
Jeffrey Dahmer, bro. Like it's not a good
yeah,
thing.
you know what I
Not a
mean?
good.
Like, see you never again.
Yeah, it's weird. Those like type of people
Mm-hmm.
are so awkward, and like I understand when
But
there's like charismatic.
they do leave signs though, and that's a big takeaway for me from the show
Mm,
too, is that there always is signs. Like the grandmother, it was in your face, man. You
yeah,
knew, you just chose not to know. Same thing with the dad. He knew, just chose
yeah.
to. And especially in the scene in the diner where he switches topics and starts. I know it's hard for you to remember because now you finished
No, I
it a
remember
while ago, but when they're
when
in
he's
the
in the diner. He's
diner
talking,
and he's talking and he knows, like, holy shit, my son is a fucking psycho, like this is going very bad, and then he just switches his tone and is like, hey, you should go to Ohio State. His
yeah,
just decision to just forget and just, we need
they
to
didn't
move
want to
on.
address the problem. They never talked about like addressing problems, adjusting like real
Mm-hmm.
things, and it's because both his dad and him are very awkward. That's what I'm saying. Like they're awkward, bro. They're people I would never be friends with. I understand why he doesn't have friends and stuff. He's just really freaking
Mm-hmm.
awkward and just socially weird. And as much as the parents should have seen stuff, maybe I don't know. It's debatable. He had terrible parents, and again, I don't use any of this stuff as like an excuse for his actions. I'm just saying like it adds to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Super weird parents, like terrible parents. Mom was batshit, like had her issues, and even if they call it postpartum depression, still doesn't change the fact that she was a terrible mom to him, like what
Yeah.
he needed. His dad also same way. Like his dad was um,
Horrible.
just terrible. Like imagine like leaving your son at home all the time, and then but
Horrible.
also he's a terrible son. If he was Latino, he would have gone beat the shit out of him because dude gets kicked out of I'm not sure if you've seen this. He got kicked out of the military.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then kicked out of like college. The moment he went to school, bro, and that was a Brazilian parent, he would have gotten to beat the. Yo, he would have seen Jesus that day because golly, bro, we're
Yeah.
like
They
so
weren't
many chances, opportunities, and the dude just doesn't do
yeah,
anything.
he was never physically abused, definitely emotionally abused.
Yeah.
Like he says in the investigation, I don't know how much was just him, and they talk about in the beginning episodes about like the
Mm,
medication that she was on while she was pregnant and stuff like that might have fucked him
yeah.
up. Yeah, dude. He
There's a
didn't
thing
have the
where
best home life, but his dad did evolve as time went on in the show. He did continuously just keep trying. And I did note that as much as he wasn't good at helping, he was in some regards trying to help. But then the same thing, the other side of the coin with what I was just saying is just that helping but
yeah.
denying. And that's what set him up to just,
Yeah, you don't want to admit the truth of like I don't think he knew his kid was a murderer, but he knew something was going on, and he didn't want to check into it further.
Mhm.
Even the same thing with like when it came to like talking about girls and stuff like that, all these things. There were things that were weird, but they never wanted to address it, so it never got addressed. And then that's a like tough thing too. It's like when people say like, "Oh, is it the parents' fault or not?" Like I don't think it's that. Like if your parents, same situation were freaking his parents, I don't think he'd become a freaking serial killer.
Mhm.
You still have issues, but not a freaking serial killer. I think there's like that, and part of like who he is could be his mental state, which people are like, oh, but if you say it's mental state, it takes away from him. Like, no, it doesn't.
It's
Like, I
definitely
don't
a
care. Like,
combination of a lot of things. And I
yeah,
think
yeah,
the show showed that, especially like with I don't remember what it's fucking called because that word was crazy, but him being aroused by the shine, like there was just so many different points throughout to just adding up to his reasons. So I don't think,
yeah,
yeah, it all adds up, man. He was getting fucked from like every direction in his life.
yeah, 100%.
He was just being, no one was helping him. Things sucked.
And he didn't look for help. Like, there's like, a lot of things.
A
Like,
lot of things.
yeah. There's a series actually that I think that you would like to watch. We just finished it yesterday, me and Mel. It's called The Patient with it's on Hulu.
Hmm.
So Check it out. It's really good. Steve Carell, and it's a serious one. Ending's amazing, I
Okay.
think. Really controversial ending for like Hollywood. It's basically like big overview is um, there is a therapist who's Steve Carell plays a therapist who's a Jewish therapist. He sees his new client and then later is abducted by this client who keeps him stored in his basement and basically keeps like to because he's a murderer and wants to stop killing. And he's
Hmm.
trying to get help, hasn't been able to get help. And then basically uses him, Steve Carell, as a therapist at home. Because then he's like, if I tell you I'm killing people or I want to kill people, I'll go to jail. So he doesn't want to go to jail. So he tells him,
Whoa.
and brings him in to help him. And it's a story, and it's really great. Steve Carell plays a Jewish um, therapist who has his own family stuff, so it's really like deep, really great. And then the murderer, um, played by some weird actor, but like very well done, really great, better than Dahmer. I feel in terms of like a full
Oh wow.
experience and new story. Um, really liked it. I think it's only like 8 episodes, maybe. We finished it yesterday. It was great, really
Hmm.
great, and it's a serious one with Steve Carell, which I was really cool because you know Steve Carell, I'm used to him in as Gru or freaking you know
Michael.
Michael Scott. So seeing him as like a bearded Jewish therapist was so and like a serious role was
I'll
super
have to
great.
give it a try with
Yeah,
Steve Carell, man. I'll give him a try
it's
on
on
anything.
it's on Hulu. I'll send it to you later. Super great, but with that, it also like kind of touches upon these things and like the murders and that's kind of like psychology and psychopathy of like that instinctual thing. But at the end of the day, it doesn't change like how you're affected by it, right? Like you can tell me someone's drunk, but they still, drove and messed up. You could also tell me that they weren't drunk, they were texting. You could tell me that it was raining outside. And independent of like, I might have like reasoning behind why they might have hurt my family because we had a car accident and I lost my family, right? In a
Hmm.
car
Hmm.
accident. And the other driver, you can tell me those three scenarios. And yes, I might be more angry, like, oh, you shouldn't have been texting or you shouldn't have been drinking or you should be driving safer in the rain. But at the end of the day, the outcome's still the same. So I'm still angry at that person no matter what, in
Right.
some extent, at least in the moment, right?
Yeah.
And I'm still sad about that. So it doesn't change that. It's interesting and maybe preventative, but I don't know how much you can actually prevent. And that's something they touch upon in the series is like how much studying these people can really help or not help a society. Like, do you think it's beneficial us watching things about murderers, like serial killers, like Jeffrey Dahmer and stuff, in the grand scheme of things, or no?
Absolutely.
You think so?
In the grand scheme of things, yes. Yeah.
What do you think
Knowledge
that
is
we learn from
power.
it?
Oh,
Mm.
jeez, so many things. I mean, on
Like, do you?
so many different levels, like mental
Mm.
health, social awareness. I mean, just there's so many things to learn from that show. I could literally go on for days.
True.
Um, but yeah, I think there's always something to learn. It depends, man, because not a lot of people are turning on that part of their brain sometimes to watch these kind of shows and to just browse on Netflix. They're not trying to be analytical and maybe take something from this or learn a lesson. Like they're just watching it super casual, and then they're like, "Oh my god, this is crazy. Why are we being showed this?" It's like
True, true, true.
you're kind of looking at it through one level, so I
Mm.
don't blame you for being, you know, kind of
Yeah.
short-minded, I guess you could say, short-sighted.
Yeah, that makes
There's
sense.
always something to learn from anything that you consume, right? I think
Well, true. I guess there's a conversation of like, are we glorifying serial killers? And that's like, I guess the conversation people have been having.
how okay, let's
And
have that discussion right now, hypothetically.
yeah, yeah.
How would it be glorifying?
I don't think it's glorifying. I think it's just
No, but I'm
painting a picture.
saying
Like,
for what people are saying.
devil's advocate or what they're saying is like,
Exactly.
it's like you're making a whole movie about him. You're spreading his name around instead of the victims. And now people are watching it. Now people want to dress up like I don't think it shows it where you're at, but I don't want to ruin it too much for you. But there are scenes of like post him being caught of people already dressing up like him for Halloween
I
in
saw
the
some
series. They show that.
Halloween outfits already, yeah.
Yeah, and then like people are doing it now, and so it's like people are making him to a caricature and kind of glorifying him. Right now, he's a like if you think about it, like what he cares about, right, is people know about him, bro. In the time when this came out, they have a series. This is real. Like they made a comic book about him. They have freaking now a series named after him, Dahmer. Right, so his name lived on.
Yeah, it's a
Now, like
tough.
it's like the thing where it's like talk about me, talk good about me, talk bad about me, but just talk about me. It's like what at the end of the day is beneficial, and I get it, like that perspective a bit, but I'm not saying I don't know. I think there's still like bad publicity in a way, and if we talk about people as a cautionary tale, I think it's still fine.
Yeah, I just don't know if, in the grand scheme of things, because it's not just Dahmer. Like, it's not like Dahmer is the only show that exists to have made people feel this way. So it's either you stop all of this kind of stuff, which I think it's just the result of being in a free country. Like, it is what it is, man. There is all this media to consume and access to the internet, and however you take it, however if there's some fucking psychos who want to be copycats, those are fucking psychos. Should they have access to this information and this knowledge? Well, in this country, it's gonna happen. It's just
I guess that's a question. Like,
it's like, what do
should they be
you?
exposed to these things or not? You know, like for example, should people be exposed to like the tactics of a murderer on such a large scale, or should this be something that's just kept between a select few? Are we becoming desensitized to these things? And like, I feel that
Right.
at least to some extent, like I'm desensitized when it comes to like serial killers, unless it's a big number,
I'm
because
absolutely
I
desensitized
watched so
to a
many.
lot of
I watched that.
things, but I do
Yeah, yeah.
feel like there are certain things that are just truths about life and almost required to be desensitized. Like knowledge about
Mm,
death, knowledge about danger. Like this is just life. And these are things that you need to be aware of. Maybe not to a certain extent, watching things that are very gory and things like that. But I do think for the most part, it's just, you see what I'm saying? Like, I
yeah,
just, I don't know.
I agree with you there. I'm not like again, I'm not on the side of I think it's more of a net positive than a net negative, I would imagine. I think it brings more good than bad, but I understand the perspective that some people might have of like, oh, this is not helping that many people or whatever. So, um, mm. Now,
But then the resolution is what? Take off the show? Never make the
yeah,
shows again? Never make
don't
any
showcase murders.
media that is rated PG-13? Like,
Well, I don't think it's the rating or what it shows. I think it's who it's like, what's it about? So if it's about a murderer making about murderers,
but what is Dahmer rated? Dahmer's got to be R.
yeah, definitely, 100%.
Even topically is R. Like things
Yeah,
that are
yeah,
discussed. So, I mean, rating has a huge part to do with it because it's usually
true.
in rated R ratings, you're going to find the most controversial types of media and entertainment.
Mm. Did they have warnings in front of Dahmer? I don't remember because the reason why I asked this too, and this might be slightly
Not
off
opening
topic,
credits, I don't think.
because we watched a movie also this weekend, Mel and I, called I think it's The Luckiest Girl Alive, with Mila Kunis as the
Oh my God, Bella literally is doing a book club of that right now with my cousin and a friend. They
the
all
book.
read the book. Then on Friday, all watched the movie together when it came out on Netflix.
They watched it.
Yeah, they read the whole book together, discussed it, had a meeting, then watched the show, got together on the same day, all together.
Did she mention like the most? Did she mention it to you
Crazy.
like
She
what?
gets raped and she's a school shooting.
Bro, no, okay.
Crazy.
So the school shooting, none of that stuff is on. Like the school shooting's nothing, nothing. They had no warning, and me and Mel watched it, and I was like, okay, how much more of this is? Because the rape scenes, I don't know how much we could say on YouTube, but that
Insane.
scene, oh shit, yeah, dude, it makes me uncomfortable. I wasn't ready for it because I never read the books. I didn't even know there was a book. I just saw this cool movie. I was like, oh, this is a cool concept. I want to watch it. I like Mila Kunis. My dog's named Mila Kunis. Like, let's watch it. That scene comes up out of nowhere, and I kind of felt it coming, and then I was so grossed out because it's not just that type of thing. It's like three people doing it to her, and like very intense scene. Like it's similar to like the feeling I felt. I'm not sure if you ever watched 13 Reasons Why, but those scenes made me feel just disgusting, gross, like almost vomiting, like bad.
No, I haven't
And
seen
essentially, like,
those, but there was a horror movie that I watched where there was a rape scene and it was like super graphic. And I remember
yeah, I don't like
just
that.
being like, whoa, that was unexpected.
Nope, don't like those. Especially, well, I have a past with that, so with that happening to us, so like that, I guess there's a personal side for me.
Mm-hmm.
But even like my Mel, she does not like that stuff either, and we were both like, let me see how much more of this, because that I'll skip. Like I can watch murderers, I can watch a lot of stuff. That to me is just so unbearable to watch ever. I
Yeah,
can't do it.
yeah.
Um, I was not ready for it, and I was very mad that they didn't have a warning. And I think there was more people that were actually mad about it, which is interesting to me.
Hmm.
And I don't usually don't care about these things. That was the first time I was like, they should have given a warning about that because like that was a lot. You know,
Hmm.
I needed a warning like in the beginning of the hearings, like, hey, there's this type of scene. Usually they do that with that, and so when I saw that, whatever you felt during the blood scene, for me, this was like I don't even know what to say. Yeah, I was not ready. Great movie though, really well done.
According to the girls, hated the movie, hated the book.
Really?
Yeah, book was very bad, had a bad ending, and then the movie
Wow.
was bad, but not as good as the book, according to them.
So worse than the book.
Yeah, but that's
Wow.
bro. That's how it goes. Book is always
Yeah.
better. I don't know
True.
if there's
True.
any case ever in history where a movie or any other media based on a
There
book has
has
been
been.
better.
I can't remember when, but I know that I've seen this before. Like there's a debate of like, has this been better than that? And I have heard there's been a few cases of like some people. Because obviously you could probably
Think
search
so?
it, but like, but typically, yeah, the book will have more because it's like the original. It's the most original essence of like what happened versus the movies and the interpretation of what that was. You know, but I've seen some things like that before where I think the movie does really good justice to what I've saw before. I was trying to think of one that was better. I'm not sure.
No,
Um,
can't think of one.
no, not off the top of my head right now.
Doesn't exist. Not that I've read many books to know, but according to my sources.
Like I guess it's not that I've read a lot of books, but according to my sources I've seen so far, the books usually compare. No, I mean, yeah, it's a hit or miss. You know what's another movie that made me feel kind of? I think it's a good movie because it makes me feel something again. That's why I liked. Like I could say it's a good movie in terms of like filming purposes. There are things that in the movie I don't agree with, like the actress, like the character did, but that's like a lot of these things that you like because you feel a certain emotion towards the person. But a Gone Girl, similar feeling, similar like storyline of like a female doing something, and I might not agree with what the story plays out, but Gone Girl also made me feel tons of
Thought that
emotion.
movie was a little overrated.
Gone Girl?
Thought it was
I don't think it's
cool
amazing.
conceptually.
I don't think it.
No, but
Yeah.
people were hailing that movie like, oh my god,
Mm,
amazing. That movie was talked about very highly. Enjoyed it though.
yeah,
Enjoyed it.
wasn't bad. I enjoyed it. Not like top movie ever, but it definitely has some scenes and some emotional things there too. But I don't remember if.
So
people
what's
were
your
crazy.
connection to it?
To what? These movies?
Yeah, to that movie, to Gone Girl.
Gone Girl? Oh, I hate that act. I hate the lady. I freaking hate her.
Why? Remind me.
She did all that shit. She frames her husband to make
Yeah.
him look like he did those things because he was cheating on her, which is sure not great, but also not the like. It's no reason to ruin a man's life and make people think that he killed you. Then like
Psycho bitch.
kills another. Literally goes to another guy, kills the other guy, and makes it look like he was abused, like had stolen her. Like basically, yeah, she's a psycho person. I like villains. I don't like bad people. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How
Bad
would you
people in movies are
differentiate
also
the two?
most hated people. So villains are people that do like grandiose things that try to um
Good question, huh?
usually it's a good question. So usually I take the villain as like again, it's someone who will sacrifice the world for that person they love or the thing that they care about.
Mhm.
They usually have a grandiose thing that's not like that. Crappy people are just people who think they're good and just do shitty things.
Okay, give me an example of one person in each category.
Okay. Villain, Loki. Villain, Thanos. Villain,
No, just give me one. Give me so
okay.
Loki. Okay.
Yes.
And then
In the same universe, a
shitty
shitty
person. No, it could
okay,
be
in the same
anything.
universe.
Anything.
No. Let's actually. I have a better one. Loki, season 1.
Okay.
Main villain is He Who Remains or Kang. Main villain.
Kang.
Shitty person
You're picking
and like
Kang
person
or
I don't like.
Loki?
Kang.
Kang. Got
Loki's
it.
not the villain in Loki.
Got it.
He's more protagonist, but Kang is the villain in that series
Yes.
or that season. And then Riva, the lady, she's the shitty person. She's a douchey person who's rude and does things for like almost similar to no purpose. Almost. Does
She
that make sense?
was the one that like was the gatekeeper.
She was like the gatekeeper, the one who actually brought female Loki into there and
Yeah.
lost her. The one who, kills them when we
Okay.
realize doesn't kill him. Or, okay, another one. Let's see. Like, give another movie. I'm trying to think of another movie or something that I can reference.
Give me Batman.
Batman.
Who in Batman is the villain? Who's the shitty person?
Villain in which Batman?
Any Batman ever.
Let's do Dark Knight. Villain. Dark Knight. Yeah, Dark Knight, right? Is Heath Ledger, Joker, villain. Shitty person, bad person is.
I'm following you now.
Let me think. Bad person, maybe the gang members, or if you did the more modern day one, villain is like the last one that came out. Villain is maybe what's his face? Ave Maria. Psychopath. What's his name? The Riddler. That's his name. In the more modern day Batman, he's the villain. Shitty person is the Falcone guy.
Okay. But
who messes up things and does things in the back end.
But he like kills people, sends out hits,
sure.
moves
1,000%.
drugs.
Yeah.
You know, like ruins Falcone probably.
Yeah.
Moves
he ruins
drugs,
people's lives.
Kills family, destroys families.
That's why he's a shitty person. That's why he's a bad person.
Might actually kill people.
Yes, that's why I don't like him.
With his hands, guns.
That's why I don't like him. Where the Riddler is like.
But that's not a villain.
I think a villain. No, a villain. I don't think I like villains, so that's probably why. Villains to me are like people that have a bigger purpose to their thing. It's not just greed. It's not just money. It's not just a thing. There's like a vision behind their stuff. They think they're good in a certain way. Does that make sense? Like they know they're bad, but they know that
doesn't everyone feel that way?
No. So
Falcone in his mind might feel that way.
He knows that he's doing stuff right.
But like, he might feel like it's not just money, it's maybe more than power. I don't know that character in depth.
Sure. But he thinks that
you're saying according to the way that he was shown, you think he's just motivated by power and money. So that makes him a bad person. Rather than the Joker who's motivated by destroying corruption and like
changing the world. There's like a deeper vision behind it. There's like complexity, and although he might hurt people, it's not like I don't see it
almost in that definition. It almost sounds like a hero.
Yeah,
destroy corruption.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
so then, what differentiates a hero from a villain?
Their sense of morality, how it's portrayed. Like I don't like heroes typically. I think heroes are terrible. Heroes are the dictators, really. Like I have the same thing when it comes to freaking like America. America portrays itself as a hero all the time, but then it's like, yeah, the hero to who though? You know, when you talk to like kids in Afghan, he's not a freaking hero because yes, it's the same thing as like what the villain would do. It's like they have a vision, they have a thing, and they're gonna say the story they want to. They don't admit that they're villains. They don't admit their badness. I think heroes don't admit their faults a lot of the time, or they're not portrayed as showing faults. Villains do. Villains admit to it. They live in it. They're like, I adapt. You think darkness is your friend. You're merely, I was born in it, molded by it, like freaking Bane. You have these people like accepting their evilness, Anakin accepting their things, but knowing ultimately that it's a better world coming out of it in their portrayal of it. Whereas heroes think they're good, and that's dangerous because when you think you're good, you do things and then you don't even understand why people
ultimately don't the actions say more than their motivation or morals?
Give me any hero. Give me any hero and I'll show you how their actions are terrible.
Huh?
If you give me any hero, I'll tell you how their actions are terrible.
No, I'm not saying that each hero doesn't have actions that are terrible. I'm just saying you could say the same for the other side, for a villain.
Sure.
Like same thing that you just said about asking someone else in another country perspective on the United States. You wouldn't say that they're a hero. Same way you ask someone here who's a hero, they say here. You go to Argentina, they say here, and I don't know, Brazil's the villain. I don't fucking know. Whoever they hate. So
there's always another side to it.
Exactly. So
but
at the end of the day, maybe like modern day media, and maybe you're talking about specific heroes, but in general, although heroes have a lot of faults, I still think at the end of the day, their actions speak very loud, and they're protecting, they're saving, they're, um, you know, getting in harm's way, things of that nature. When a villain is just creating destruction in hopes that it will rebuild and create something new. It's
Well,
like,
okay, so,
you know what I'm saying? The strategy, I feel like, is where you're almost like someone like who's ready to go to war just to kill everybody to get your way, or someone who's willing to find a way around that so that people don't have to be
sure.
lost. There aren't human casualties.
I think there is still a difference though between, like, for example, the type of villain too that I would like. I don't like Green Goblin. I think he's just crazy and wants to kill people.
Yeah.
I don't like Sandman. I don't like a lot of those villains.
Sandman was
But
cool. Sandman had like a little backstory in Spidey 3 where he was like
yeah, with his daughter and crap.
his daughter.
But I think there's, again, like there's a caliber of villain that there's a purpose behind what they're doing, and I think the purpose really defines who they are to me. Um, Similarly, it's like, okay, Team Cap or Team Iron Man at that time, the two heroes. So who's the villain really? And it's like Zemo was right. One of my favorite villains from Marvel.
Tim
I
was a
mean, I
great
love
one.
Thanos, I love Kang, and I love Zemo. He was the one who brought them down. Like out of all of them to really break them, the first one to do was Zemo, freaking full on human, and it's because he lost his entire family, did all these things, and the Avengers left. Like
Yeah. And
it's impactful.
he almost did it perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, he
Almost.
broke the team. The team was broken up after
No,
that
but
and
I'm
left.
saying like he almost really was the hero. The only thing that changed that was the fact that he killed T'Chaka, right? He was the one that set the bomb.
Oh, that killed off the father. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
In terms of like
I'm just
morality
saying,
stance.
right?
Yeah.
I'm just saying that was the one move that questioned if he was a hero. If he doesn't set off that
Mm,
bomb, Zemo is the hero of that movie, and I think we're like, I think we
I
love
see.
him. I think we're almost chanting for him. But the fact that he made
Yeah,
that one error of bringing casualties in this to prove your position is now like, okay, now you're playing a different game. Now this isn't
I
some like psychological, sociological breakdown and like trying to change culture, things like that. This is like, I'm going to kill someone to get an advantage over you.
yeah,
That's a
I see what
different
you're saying.
level.
So you're saying you're looking at another perspective of like, okay, if you can, your agenda, right? You're like what he wanted to get across about the risks and stuff about them was great in the way he like did it. But when you bring in innocence
Mm-hmm.
into it, it's not, you lose your like standing ground, I guess is what you're
Right.
portraying it.
You change
Okay.
the playing field.
Mm,
Now you made it
okay.
a new game. Now you're taking this from one thing to the next. So that's like the only thing with the villain hero conversation that makes me not go all the way with that perspective of like,
But when you look at a hero
I
like
do
kills a
love
bunch of like,
villains and there's things that I love about them, but at the end of the day, a villain is a villain and a hero is a hero, because when you really draw the line in the sand, that thing separates you two.
so do you value like not the action of like not committing that murder or what have you? Because like for me, it's not that big a deal. Like again, I also love villains. Like I was just thinking about like the Vikings. I love Ivar
Mm-hmm.
the Boneless, who was like
Yeah.
perceivably a bad guy in that. Like I really do attract myself towards villains, and
I
might be
think it's
saying
I
speaking
think
into
it's
my psychology,
dependent.
but you know,
I think it's dependent on the goal and the position that you're in and what decisions are forced upon you. You know, for example, a Viking, without the context of them pillaging and raping and shit like that, because we know they did that. But let's say in a war that was morally sound, and yeah, like you take a life to protect yours and to protect the one that you love if they're in harm's way. And if you know, you have to fight here or you are going to die. I think at the end of the day, you fight for yourself.
it's kind of like, okay, so this is one of the things that they talk about in Star Wars a lot is like not killing and how the Sith is evil, but that like The Jedi murder so many clones that it's like they're not real people. Okay, we can just murk them all, you know? Who cares? So that's where it's like, okay, is that okay? You know? I guess it's like we accept the soldier things. Like there's plenty of times you see freaking the Avengers fighting and they definitely murdered a bunch of people. But
Yeah.
it's only like these specific like things. The fact that Captain America murdered that one guy and the new Captain America or the temporary Captain America and the Falcon and Winter Soldier, that was bad. But it's like, yeah, but I've seen Hulk and these people fight in wars and freaking.
But it's never intentional. Yeah, I mean, they murk people, but it's at the cost of the situation that they're in. It's not necessarily like they're going into the apartments and gunning people down. It's like Hulk goes to throw a boulder, misses the evil dude, crushes a building, kills 2,000 people. Like, you know, it's like
misses the building. He didn't have the hand-eye coordination, so he just murdered everybody.
But that was the situation he was in. He was getting bombs thrown at him. Maybe the better decision is to run, probably. If we're really going to talk about it, like going deep, you would probably, his best decision would be to evade and to leave the city, take the war somewhere else so there's no casualties. But
okay, but when he's fighting soldiers,
if it's forced upon you,
soldiers, like the beings from freaking Thanos and those things, do those count as lives or not, or because they're not human specifically?
Oh, they're invading your home and killing your family. That's yours to protect.
Okay,
there are levels where like your circle in your village, the size of it changes depending on like the harm that's coming against it. For example, like if there's something that happens here on this street, now this street becomes my village and we will protect it. Like if bombs start falling all around us, the street that I'm on and the neighbors that I have, now that becomes the greater part of my group. If, you know, to the extent of having to protect ourselves, that makes sense. People that are around you. So like if Earth is being invaded, my team is Earth. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like now I'm here to protect human life. Or any life here. It's the context, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand that. It's just always interesting to me to see that like portrayal. Because again, like
there's no
really
perfect
is
hero, that's for sure. You know, there's no perfect villain. I think there are certain characters that muddy that line a little bit. Like the anti-heroes where it's like, oh shit, like this is kind of, those are the ones like you talked about with Damon earlier that are very interesting if done correctly. But most of the time there's a pretty solid line and you know who's on what side.
Yeah, you know who's on what side. I don't know. You know me. I'm always leaning towards the villain, and I see like more of myself in like the reality of a villain than I do a hero. Hero's too perfect. It does too like Superman. Again, I hate. It's my least favorite superhero type thing. It's Superman. I hate Superman with all my might.
That's so disrespectful.
So annoying. Freaking annoying, bro.
Okay, but what version of Superman? What part of Superman?
I hate all of Superman. I hate all of Superman. Superman's the stupidest character in my mind. I don't like him at all.
Oh my god.
So annoying. He's Wonder
You sound
Bread.
like a villain right now.
Yeah, like you're talking the guy who has, I don't think I have one hero. Let me see. I have Slytherin, Loki,
okay,
Darth
but
Vader.
truthfully,
I hate Superman.
Okay.
So much.
What about Superman? Let's break this down.
His stupid face. I have like a personal vendetta. No, I don't like that he's so perfect. It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't like his
But he's an alien.
So what? Are all aliens perfect? Do you have Zod?
No, but maybe that alien planet has some type of like crazy, ridiculous amount of humility and love and compassion.
Zod comes from that place. But yeah, but isn't the first Superman him fighting people from his planet and they're all the freaking same? Didn't his dad be?
So you think he's too like
selfish enough? Okay,
too
also
polished?
he's selfish, too polished, too perfect, like just too indestructible. Does not make sense. Do not like him.
Okay.
He's like a.
He's a cheat code.
Yeah, and I don't like it. I don't like him, and I don't like his like perfectness. Okay. He's like a Chad. He's like a freaking Brett. Like he's just a dude I don't like.
In what way could you change Superman that would
make him better?
In your opinion,
make him darker. Make him more like human. I think is a thing. He's not very human. So his humanity would be more of like.
But he's not human.
I get that, but he's not real. You know, he doesn't like he. I think the way you make Superman better is making him more. He either goes freaking uh partnering with Darkseid, or he's the Wonder Bread superhero who can do no wrong and no one can beat. Like he doesn't have an in between, and it's frustrating to me. He should have an in between and be more realistic. Like, yes, I'm a superhero, but I might use my superpowers to do this, or like I might punch a little bit too hard, or something. I don't get that from him. He's just too perfect. He's either a perfect like sidekick for Darkseid and enslaves the Earth and becomes like an evil god, or he's the god, the Jesus figure of freaking DC. It's like, no, can you just be a little bit normal? Like a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Almost.
No, I get it. I get it.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think there's extremes on both sides. Maybe the fandom for that type of character is overhyped. That I wouldn't disagree with.
Yeah.
But
I just really don't like him. He's just too good.
I think he's cool. I don't know if he's one of my favorites, but I'm into the purity of his character.
You're like a good guy.
And how heroic he is. You're
ultimately
a good guy too.
Like, okay, there's like two type of people. I think personally, there are good people because that's who they are. They're good, and then there are good people that choose to be good. I think, and I don't think one's better than the other. I just think they're different.
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly think that you're just a good person. I can't imagine you doing bad things to other people at all. Like I can't, and I could be naive, but I could not imagine. Like I feel like I could trust you with basically anything, and I don't see
what
that
a compliment.
you do. Like, and it's a thing. I don't foresee that. It's not even a thought of yours. You don't have like the malintent in you. Like your malintent is so like.
And you
know what I'm saying? Does that make sense to you?
And you?
That's how I feel about you. And I know that I am, like, for sure I'm bad. I just choose to be good. Like, if I didn't have self-control and I didn't have a mentality, I would be terrible. Like, you do those tests, I'm Slytherin. You do those tests, there was a movie that came out that I watched this weekend during the week last week that came out, me and Mo watched, was like The School of Good and Evil. Interesting storyline, has a book and stuff. We watched the movie, and then I was like, researching it, and then they had the website. I came up as the bad school. I would go to the bad school. Like, I think I'm bad within, like, but I use it and I can. Does that make sense? Like, it's kind of that saying. It's like,
no,
if you're
it makes
monster,
sense. Do I agree? I don't know.
Like, my natural instinct is to do bad things and not give a crap about anyone. I'm extremely selfish intentionally, but I'm not selfish at all because I never ask for things for myself. I always do things for others. But it's like I purposely do that. Not like it comes instinct. Does that make sense?
Yes. You're almost not the first person I've met who said, like, quote for quote, those things.
And then I think you are instinctively good. Like, that's your first thought, even if you didn't think it. You know what I'm saying? Like, not that it's at all less honorable or not. But I think it's like a difference between that.
Do you think that there's a way to maybe just create a different mindset?
Yeah, I do it where I don't have to think about it too much. Like, I forced myself into being good, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
no, but I'm saying in the way that can you convince yourself that you're good with the merits and things that you've done and the way that you fight to be good? You know,
possibly. I don't like. Again, I think I'm a good person when it comes to like my day to day. Like, I don't do anything bad to any people. I try to do right by everyone.
I think maybe you villainize yourself a little bit.
I know. I think it also could be like I also am self-analyzing. I know myself.
Yeah, what you should. Hopefully.
Yeah,
I find that maybe the intelligent, mature people, for the most part, have hacked
maybe
into
everyone
that.
thinks these ways, and maybe almost everyone thinks this way. But like when I talk to people and I'm a little bit honest, people are like, "No, I don't think that." Like I said, like if I played a video game, I'd be a complete psychopath. I'd go on a rampage.
I think
that's like my natural instinct, you know. But then I talk to the people and they're like, "No, that's not my natural instinct." I'm like,
"Well, I think if you're around people that are like self-aware and analytical and things of that nature,
or not afraid to say it." I'm not sure if people are afraid to say that. No,
but there's definitely people who just don't have like that access to their brain. Like they just aren't on that level. They don't think about life like that. They choose not to, maybe, but are just not thinking those thoughts. And I think there's other people that either are just like that, learned that at a very young age, or tapped into that somehow.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like I can see it from both ways. I just I don't know if everyone thinks that way. It's like that thing where it's again,
Definitely not everyone.
yeah, definitely not everyone. I guess everyone's like on a spectrum of like where they're
Maybe
at,
not
but
even the majority. I'm not sure.
yeah, I just know that like, hey, I have these bad like just because you have these thoughts or you have like these innate actions, it doesn't mean you have to do it. You know,
Right.
it
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you're a bad person per se. It's just more of like it's a weird thing because then you think about it like, are these the bad people? And it's like, no, I think the people are the bad ones who never done a chance to it. You know, it's like that saying where they talk about um a fighter, like someone who fights, they know how to self control, and they talk about like what's more dangerous. And it's like, no, the guy who knows how to fight is probably the most calm person. The one who doesn't want to fight because he knows what that like comes out of it, and the person who doesn't wants like that thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So like I sometimes or I reassure myself that it's not bad that I have these feelings that I'm quote unquote like the bad on the side
Bad thoughts.
because yeah, or the bad thoughts or whatever. It's because it's not like they're acting upon it, and I don't think it's excess of normal. It's just I know where I'm at. I'm honest with like what humans are, at least what I perceive humans to be and what I perceive myself to be, and know that day to day, every day, I choose other people above myself in terms of like caring for other people. Always, I don't care for myself. I'm not selfish. I'm not things. But then I can turn this on really quickly, and where I know it's good, I don't give a crap about companies. Where like my wife, she's very good. Like she's a good person, and then she feels it's funny because she would consider herself more of a villain than like doing bad things, even though she's a very good person. Where I'm a bad person, I'm like, no, I know that you're good and I'm bad because she doesn't have like she instinctively cares about other people. She's like, oh no, tell them that we're gonna be there at this time or do this. Like I don't care at all. It's like no, I'll do it when I like and it's because I only care about my select. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think maybe you're.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. There's certain things that you don't fuck with. You're just not. I don't know if that makes you a bad person though. Maybe compared
No,
to
not a
the
bad
people
person.
around you who care about certain things,
Maybe
you.
it's not a bad person. Maybe that's not the best word. Maybe it's like a bad traits, like the traits that are typically viewed as bad, like selfishness and stuff like that. I'm good. I use them to my advantage, or cockiness, other things. I use them for the advantage of the people around me. And then I'm naturally selfish, but because I know that's not a good thing, I'm not selfish towards myself. I'm selfish to others. So I literally don't want anything because I've transformed my selfishness, that would be my natural instinct, to care for like when I really want to eat something. I'm like, my first reaction is, does my wife want to eat? And like, if I'm with you, are you good? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like my natural instinct isn't what I act upon.
Yeah.
I make a choice to not act upon my natural instincts a lot. I guess is maybe
What do you think your life would be like if you reverse that?
if I didn't, if
Just
I acted on my natural
instinct,
instincts.
100%
Oh,
of
bro,
the
I'd be
time.
in.
But,
I'd either be.
but
I'd be.
more than a thought, like a desire. Like
Yeah,
instincts is like something that you're willing to put into action immediately, not just like, oh, I have this thought, I'm going to do that. That's like psychotic. Just going off of what you want. Like the first thing that comes to your mind when you want something, to do it physically, emotionally, everything, like are gonna
I'd
go
be in a
do
bad
that.
place. I'd be in a bad place.
Think so?
I don't think I'd be. Yeah, 100%.
Thanks for being honest, at least.
100%. No, I'm very honest. And again, like people could think this is terrible. If people want to take the time to listen to an
Fuck
hour
them.
type thing, 2 hour podcast, sure. If this bites me in the butt one day in the future,
No,
sure. But I
for
think
being honest,
these are
how?
all like honest things to mention. And again,
No, for sure.
I've never said things online that I've never done anything that's hateful towards people. I've never done bad things to people, really, that I can point to. It's just more of like, I know,
Yeah.
like I can sense those things in me. And I feel like when the insane people are people that say they aren't insane. I think it's what the saying is. Like, insane people think they're right, or like the good people think they're good. That's how I look at it. Like,
Right.
if you can know your own faults and know your things, that's when you're truly are a good place. Because then it's like, okay, cool.
I
I
agree.
know these things. Like, I have no, like I know what my problems are. I know where my problems aren't. And there's certain
It's
things
the
I don't care
same
at
thing
all.
we
Like,
talked about earlier about self-awareness. That's like,
it's like faithful,
that's the
like
main
faithfulness.
key.
Yeah, it's like faithfulness, like to my friends, to my wife, to other things. That's like a problem I don't have at all. Not even a thought. And it's like, I don't have to fight instincts. It's just not what I have. And it's not built into me.
Yeah.
So I'm very easy. Like, and my wife knows, hence she has like an undoubtedly trust. in me. But then when it comes to like maybe I don't know, I'm a very much like I give it all. So she knows like if she doesn't give me a time to get home, I'll get home at 10 in the morning. You know, like the next day. If I leave tonight,
Yeah.
I could leave right now and get back home at 10 in the morning if she doesn't tell me otherwise. Because she knows that's how I act. She has to
Right.
worry about me doing anything that she has to worry about. But it's more of like drive safe. Like she knows what to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
And those are things that she knows, like I have an inkling I like driving fast. So I have that inkling in me, you know? I'm an aggressive driver. So she knows that's a thing. She never has to tell me to drive slow. Almost, does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
so there's an instinctual thing. So like I don't have a problem with like my friend group, and that's where I can use my like selfishness. Like I don't really care what happens to anyone else but my friend group. So that's like when people ask those questions like, oh, would you click a box if a random stranger, like a random person? Yeah, I don't give a freaking heck. That's why I'm like, I'm a bad person because I don't care at all about other people unless I care about them.
I get it.
Like that's how it is. But once I become like you become someone I care about, it's like, okay, now I'm like, I want to be your hero, but I could be everyone else's villain. Like I could be my wife's hero, but the world's villain, and that's perfect for me.
I get it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's kind of how I portray
That
it.
was a good analogy.
Yeah. It's kind of, and it's funny too because it's like, you know, you watch
that
all these
feels
things.
like a respectable thing, man. I don't know if that's something to be frowned upon. It sounds like a pretty.
That's what I'm saying. Like it sounds
that
crazy
sounds
when
like
you say
somebody
like,
I want on my team, like someone I want close.
yeah, like it's a type of thing where it's like I'm okay with everyone else hating me that's not for me or not with my team. That's basically what it is, right? And I think they should hate me. Like I should, like you know, like if I'm taking away from you, if it's a team thing, if it's just like you're on your own thing, whatever. But I like that type of mentality. It's just kind of how I've always been. Like screw everyone else. I don't care what everyone else thinks. Which might be terrible in the future. I don't know, but like who cares? It's like if say for example this video got a tons of views and this did really well, right? Let's say that was the case, or we're in the future and we have tons of people. I really don't care what people say online. It does not matter. But if you say, Leo, hey, I felt like you were overpowering in the conversation, that matters to me.
Mm-hmm.
Or Leo, you didn't talk enough. Or I didn't like what you said offended me. Then it's like, okay, let me talk to you because I care about what you think. Atlas. Joe Schmo, freaking your mom, unless like even your mother, your family, I don't care about unless you say, hey, they affect me. I care about them. And now they're extended. I care about them. That makes sense. Yeah. And that's kind of been my mentality. So that's why I'm like, I have a capacity for bad person things to people I don't care about. Not that I go out of my way, but if it benefits the people I care about, I'll do anything.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not a good stranger to have nearby. If you're nearby,
not
you
like,
better be my fucking friend or I'm fucked.
Well, like not like inherently bad, but it's like the type of thing where it's like,
I'm joking. I'm joking.
Yeah. You know, those people are like, some people are like, you know, like, oh, would you steal from me? It's like, truthfully, that person might never steal for anybody. It doesn't matter who it is.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, no, I'll do literally anything for the people I care about. Like, it's very few things I wouldn't do for them.
I get that.
Yeah. By the way, I'm liking the feel of the red background.
Oh, thanks.
How have you been with it, with the new like setup in the last like week or two? How long has it been? Like 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
It's been nice, but the rest of the room isn't done, so it's kind of, it feels incomplete still. And a part of me doesn't feel like really motivated to finish the rest of it, only because one, it's spending a lot of money, and two, I'm already gonna move next year, so it's like, is it worth the investment? What's gonna be the other size of the room? So it's just like stuff like that. I mean, I have a few things that I know I gotta get for when you come here live, so we can do the podcast setup. But it's coming along. It's nice to have my own space again since Atlanta, and to have like the setup and have my shit out and have the colors that I chose. It's nice, man. It's a vibe. It's freeing for sure. Having your own private space to work in and think and brainstorm and be creative. It's a lot less block. You can find a flow state better when you deal with like, just being in a place where distractions are possible. Not necessarily a person or a thing. It's just like anything can distract you if you work in a certain environment. Whether you work in the kitchen and like I did, and even if you want to go get something to eat or like everything, the front door is right there wide open so people walk by. Like there's just so many things to get in the way. So to have an office and have privacy and find that flow state is for sure big. big. Thanks for asking, dude.
No, yeah. What do you feel like? I feel like my so totally feel you in like not wanting to finish. Outside of this side, I have like the other corner. I have a freaking Polaroid wall, and I probably have like 300 Polaroids, 400 Polaroids up right now. But I still have more to do, and I have another desk. Like I have a completely other standing desk that I barely use. My friend who stays here has used it more than I have. Um, but like I still have more, and I feel a lack of motivation to do that more so because I haven't used that space. And so like I really feel like this is an extension of me, and I'm always adjusting it, adding different plants or whatever. But I really feel like this is like an extension of me, and I'm
Yeah.
proud to showcase this. Like I'm excited to be in meetings and show my background.
Right.
Do you feel the same now with this space more so maybe than the other space? Because now I feel like the other space maybe from my perspective had you in it because you were in it, but like the background was like your house where it didn't show you
Right.
like the things you wanted to
Yeah,
showcase. Do you feel like that here?
I remember you asking that a lot while it was happening. We would talk on the phone, being like, "That's important to you, and that you think that would be important to me as well." And yeah, I think it's important to showcase a little bit more of my personality for people to see the things that I enjoy, the things that I like. Right now, we're a little bit cropped, but if you were to see more, you'd see a lot other things in here. I have Shenron back there. It's Dragon from Dragon Ball. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's awesome, and it gives me a feeling of like I'm representing the things that I love, whether you like those things or not. It makes me proud to have it here when I'm doing the things that matter the most to me, which are making content and streaming right now. So definitely
Yeah.
fulfilling for sure. I want to keep
Yeah.
adding. It doesn't feel completely fulfilled, but that feeling has definitely come back for sure.
I feel like it's like a changing thing too. Like it's very dynamic for me. And so I like that. Like there's so many it's an extension of my personality. Like I want my background to be an extension of that. So if today it's just the plants, which is typically there, but like at least even for me seeing it, like, I want maybe Vader right here in front of me. Or I want something else for me to see, or like the vibe I'm in that day.
I have a Trunks right here. Literally so close to me.
Yeah, like and there's things that I want to show to people, and there's things that I want to see while I'm working, like type
Right.
of thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand that. Like I never really cared for like having a man cave,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not sure if it's the same for you, but this is my room. Mel has her room. She has her Peloton and her freaking stuff in there, and like her Vogue magazines and all the stuff that she cares about and whatnot. This is my room. And it's crazy because I'm always just like, okay, how can I add this? I could add shelves. And then I feel like, okay, but if we move, that type of thing. But it really is like my corner. It's almost like I didn't have that much freedom as a kid because one, there was money. And then also I was limited to what I could and couldn't do. And I a lot of times I've shared a room growing up. Most of my life I shared a room.
Same.
And then I got married, sharing a room. So it's like, this is like the one place where I can do whatever the frick I want.
Right.
For the most part.
Right. No, agree.
And I love it. And it's the liberty almost. Do you feel that? Or I'm not sure how it was like
when I first moved to Atlanta and I got my first like being away from home in there, and was kind of the first experience of wanting to do things like that. And when I first started streaming, that was when I first got my own room too, in a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom in Atlanta. So I had my first office, same thing, dude. I went crazy. And that's really why my setup changed so much in that first year. Like I just kept adding to the room, moving things, because it was so exciting to be able to like fully like, fucking spread the walls with just my personality. It's amazing to have your own space. I want to keep adding to it. There's so much that I want to keep changing to. And I mentioned this to you too, but like, for example, in this position that I'm in, I'm not facing a wall. And I think that's a big thing for me, because in a lot of setups, I've been facing the wall. And just after a while, it's just becomes a little bit too isolated for me. And I just feel a little bit, I don't have like a problem with, what's the word? Claustrophobia. But it just, I feel disconnected from like what's around me, and I don't want to, it's got to be more than like a plain wall. It's got to be like, I can see outside. There's a further dimension to just this flat surface in front of me.
So I can't do an office without windows. my biggest thing is if I don't have a window in my office, I lose my mind.
That's actually a good point. I've never done that, but I can imagine you would lose your mind. I probably would
That's why I
too.
have the window right here. That's why I have the window right here. When we were looking to move at one point, this one place had like the bedroom was beautiful, and there's like one we end up deciding we're not going to ever move to an apartment ever again in our lives because we have the dogs and their freedom
Yeah.
and we like having a house. But even then, the room that was going to be my office was in the middle of like the layout,
Hmm.
so it was not touching a window. And I said I could. I told him, I looked at her. She already knew. She was like, "Yeah, you can never do that." I was like, "I'd lose my freaking mind. I'd go insane."
Yeah. I
Just
have
having the
windows
access
here,
to see.
luckily, but I definitely don't have as much light now that you mention it. And it definitely does change the mood a little bit.
Some vitamin D. Pause. Some some sunlight. I get to see. Also, like we have the Ring doorbells, but I still like seeing what's like. This is our backyard, and then
Yeah.
like the back entrance, and people can drive in this way, and then like our car's parked right there. But then we also have the front one. So the front one has the Ring. Here I can see who's coming up to my house. I would never have my back to the door. Like my door's right there on this
Mhm.
side, so I could see if my wife needs to come in. And then like I like the placement versus if like I have my back against something. Like if my back, since my window's here, if my back was to my window, I'd also lose my mind because if I'm not on camera, I don't know
Mhm.
what's going behind me, and I
Mhm.
feel like who's behind me at all
That's
times. So
that's one of the
like,
reasons why I didn't want to be facing a wall anymore, is that feeling. Because now I'm in the part of the room where the door is like in front of me over here. So if that door opens, even if I'm looking straight at this monitor like gaming, I'll see it.
yeah,
I hear it. That same thing. I'm avoiding someone creeping up behind me and scaring me because it used to happen all the time. In the early streams, Bella used to take advantage of me and scare the shit out of me. Playing horror games, come behind me and like
yo,
tap my
horror nights,
shoulder.
yo,
Oh my
horror nights, and
God.
just boom, oh, dude, a heart
No,
attack, huh?
not anymore. Now I can hear her from like 50 yards away. I can hear the door open. No one's going to catch me by surprise. Hell no.
No. Do you guys do that a lot where you guys like scare each other?
Um, no, not recently.
We
No,
do it often.
sometimes, but and she'll wait to catch me off guard.
I do it naturally, apparently. So I have
Yes, I do.
I walk very lightly.
Earlier today, I scared the shit out of her by accident. Just walking
Well, because I
in.
don't. Well, I walk quietly. So like Mel walks loudly,
Mhm,
and it's because I think it's because I was raised in an apartment, living on the third floor when I was really young with my mom,
mhm.
and so I was used to like learning how to walk lightly. And I think I maybe naturally do that, but walk lightly so I don't make noise for like
Yeah.
tenants growing up. So like an early age, so I think it like affected me growing up. But it's how I walk. Mel walks loudly so I can hear her walking,
Mhm,
like with her heels.
mhm.
And so when I'm walking, no one can hear me. So she's like, and I'm just walking to the kitchen and she's like there. And I'm like, sorry.
Yeah, that's how my mom
You know,
walks, dude, with her freaking
like,
heels. Growing up,
yeah, so you
just
can
hearing
hear
above me. Oh my goodness.
yeah, yeah. But like was learned like don't do that because the freaking, neighbors or whatever.
Yeah,
So I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, cool. Let me walk quietly. And so she's always like, just make more noise. She's like, I'm gonna put a bell on you. So because I just walk up and I don't turn on the lights when I walk around the house. So like if it's like nighttime, like right now it's completely dark, I'll turn off all the lights. It'll be completely dark, and I just walk. I'm fine with it. And she's like, no, why didn't you turn on the lights? I'm like, there's no need to turn off the lights. Maybe I'm like a dad. I'm like, there's wasted lights, It's like you psychopath walking in the dark all quietly, wearing black like this and just walking like quietly, not making a sound.
Put a bell on you is hilarious. You should definitely get a bell.
Just a little bell, just like, hey,
That's what
this
you
is
should
my
be
wife
for
to know.
Halloween. Just be a bell.
Just a bell.
It's a good idea. Yeah, it's a good idea. Be the
So you haven't
ring.
found out what you're gonna be yet, right?
No.
Don't you have a Halloween party this weekend?
Yeah.
Christ, does Bella know what she's gonna want to be?
No.
Jeez.
So last night we discussed me being Dracula and her being a witch.
Okay.
That was the most recent idea because every day we're
Blood.
just spitting new ideas. Let's hope one of these sticks.
There's nothing that you would imagine yourself being like.
I just don't ever dress up that crazy for Halloween. I've always liked the idea.
Really?
I like when people do it. I've just never put in that much effort. So now that it's here again, I'm like, I'll just wear a mask. You know what I mean? I'll take this fucking pumpkin mask and just call it a day. So it's tough for me to decide, like, what am I gonna freaking completely
You guys could be
cosplay
pirates.
as? It's a lot of pressure, dude. Especially
You
if
could
I
be
don't do
pirates.
it often. Pirates?
Yeah, you and her could be pirates. You could also be Aquaman. You could be Jon Snow.
I thought about being fucking
Fat Thor.
No, Namor. But I was like, I'm not ripped.
You could be Hagrid. You could be Hagrid in honor for him for
You'd be
passing away.
Hagrid. Is it the hair?
Yeah. Yeah, the hair and the beard. I'm thinking of like things with the hair and the beard that you could be.
Yeah, I could be
Um,
Jon Snow.
you could be Jon Snow.
I have to
You could be
like.
Hagrid. You could be I don't know what else. I'm trying to
I
think.
don't know,
There's not
bro.
many characters. I mean, outside of it, like my
I
thing
could
was like
also
I
put it in a bun, dye it blonde, shave
you
my
could put it in a
beard, and be
bun.
Damon.
You could.
That's a stretch, though.
It's a lot of work though, no?
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. I wanted to be Loki one year, and I was like, no, I'm not shaving my beard though. And then I lost the opportunity to be Jesus or a hippie. I was like, gee, like that's a perfect. Cause I look just like it, and
You
I would
messed
mention
up
that I look
cutting
like
your
it.
hair, man. You messed up.
I like the hair like this. I think it's a balance. Imagine us both being long haired right now,
Yeah, that would
and
definitely.
it's not even like I was not long. Like your hair length was me in the beginning. My hair was down to my nips.
Yeah.
Was touching my nips at that point. You know,
Yeah,
I was flowing.
I'm shoulders. But the
You're
back
getting there.
part, the sides is like still. Because I
When you
would
were in the
always get a
hat,
fade.
when you were in the hat, it kind of looked like a freaking solid mullet, and I was feeling it.
Yeah, someone in my chat said that earlier. Like, nice mullet. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? It's not a
You should,
mullet, okay? I
I
just
kind of want
would
to rock
always
a
get
mullet
a
next.
fade, and then I just grew it out. I didn't get it like, you know what I mean? Fucking stacked or whatever you call it.
Oh, a layered.
Layered. Thank you.
You have to go to like a good. You have to go to a good long hair.
Person, yeah. Salons,
Yeah,
man.
either a salon and a good salon, because I've quickly realized just because they do females' hair doesn't actually even mean that they can cut hair well. Especially because your hair type, you gotta like be
No,
picky.
someone who knows how to deal with curls and shit. I mean, this is kind of
Longer.
wavy right now because I was wearing a hat, but it's
Mm.
usually much curlier. Like,
Do you know that my hair gets
curly.
extremely wavy? By the way, you just never
No.
see it that way because I always blow dry it. When I leave my hair like to air dry, and I usually put a silk wrap on it, this right here gets like like full ramen noodle waves, like crazy amount of waves. And it gets so like you remember when I had long hair, sometimes when I would put it down, it looked super wavy and like
Mm-hmm.
messy.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it would get. So that's why I would always blow dry, and then it would become that silky, the white Jesus look of like long silky hair. And that's what I have to do now because like my hair's short. So like
Yeah.
if I let it go, like on the weekends, I just kind of wash my hair and then I'll just let it air dry for whatever and put like conditioner in it, and it just gets so wavy. It's just a lot. Mel doesn't like it. She likes it more controlled,
Do
which
what
I'm
Mel
fine with.
wants. Do what she
Yeah,
wants.
and I imagine work too would care for like the more tailored look. But I'm very picky with my people who touch my hair, so like I imagine you would be too, especially if you're letting it grow this much. Do you have a plan to when you want to stop?
Mm, no, I don't think so. I think I'm just sending it.
Just gonna let it grow and grow?
My plan is next week, I'm going to do braids.
Really?
I'm going to do braids, see how
Okay.
that goes. If I don't like it, then I think I cut the hair because then I just don't have any other. I don't know what else I want. I don't know if I'm feeling like just this
Cut the
vibe.
hair to what length?
Um, probably like here. When it was like
Really?
medium length before like it started going crazy.
Really?
Before it started
Okay,
looking
what does
more
Bella
like a
think?
mullet.
What does Bella think?
No, now she's at the point where she's scared. She doesn't want me to cut it.
Don't cut it.
I'm in the
I'm telling you,
position
let
that
it grow.
everyone
Yeah,
is
let it
in when
grow.
they grow long hair and everyone else has short hair. Don't cut it. Don't cut it. I'm in that spot.
Yeah, literally me.
The
Literally me.
pressure, I know. And then one day I'm just gonna
Okay,
chop it
so
off and shock everyone,
yeah, that's what I did.
and then just generate
Um,
traffic to my channel and take advantage of everyone. Imagine. It's the
now
best
imagine you
promotion,
cut your
man.
now imagine if you start letting like some time passes. I don't cut my hair. My hair grows back to like it's like
Yes, that's the great.
and it's like we can never have long hair at the same time. We both have to like it's either one or the other. We
That's-
both have to have like
That's the strategy for the channel. Moving
balanced
forward,
as all things should be.
perfectly balanced.
Dude, that'd be funny.
That'd be hilarious.
I don't know. I don't think I'd go back to long, but I definitely want. I might want to let the side grow. I really like the classic look. That's my thing right now. Again, just a classy look. The last guy who cut my hair freaked it up because he wasn't my normal guy, but I got my haircut paid for, so I was like, all right, cool. I'll just get a quick cleanup before we went out for the weekend. And people can't tell, but I can tell, and people who know about hair can tell. Like the way he cut it was wrong, so I was like, all right, I'm just letting it grow. fine. It's not a big deal. He tapered it wrong, which is not what I wanted, and whatever. It'll grow back. My hair grows back very extremely quickly, and then I'll just go to my right guy, and he'll fix it all up.
Yeah, I don't like jumping around to barbers. Fuck that. I don't like taking the chance. I can't trust anybody, man.
I'm extremely picky when it comes to these things. I don't let people touch my mustache or beard.
That's mostly why I haven't cut it, because I just don't have confidence in anyone to do it correctly. So I'm just like, fuck it. Like, just grow it forever.
Would you think you go back to that short blonde hair again that you had at one time?
No, man. After
I remember calling it ramen noodles. I remember
we just talked about this. After I fried my hair, I just fuck that shit. My hair was drier than dry ramen.
Do you remember when I had gray hair back in the day?
No.
You don't remember the gray hair?
No.
So I had gray hair.
No, I don't.
I had super short sides, like extremely short, like and then the long top that I would do like the low man bun at the time. And I did it all gray, like white gray. I have pictures on my socials on that. Back in the time, like 2015.
And what did your hair
2014.
feel like?
Oh, death. It was like especially towards the end of it, it was just not good. And then I shaved my head. And just shaved it all off. Literally showed up, posted a picture of just me holding up a ponytail of white hair, which this might be weird, it might be TMI for like the world to know, but who gives a frick? I still have that knot of hair in my house in a box.
That doesn't surprise me with you.
Yeah, I saved it. Mel thinks it's the grossest, weirdest thing that I was like,
Dahmer with your box.
With our boxes of things. I already have like the glasses. It's funny because someone made a post. I was like, murderers in these glasses, and I'm like, these ones, like these are my favorite.
Oh my
glasses.
god! Put on those glasses and tell people about your box, and I think we have a new show.
What's the voice like? What's his voice? I'm like, hello, yeah. So I keep my ponytail of hair in a box underneath my bed, and all my things.
Just
and
no emotion.
I eat hearts, and I drink blood sometimes.
Sometimes he does more than drink blood, bro.
He bathes in that stuff. Nah, but yeah, I kept it. It's a weird thing. I don't know. It was a memory. I have boxes that have like dates and memories of them, and I have like the first things that me and my wife did together and stuff. But apparently, that when I was a teenager, that was something I wanted to keep, and so it's somewhere in one of my like memory boxes. But yeah, I did that and shaved it. It was when we went to camp. I had a shaved head. I'm not sure if you recall, but it's a long time ago. During like the Pablo season of Kanye. But
what a time.
What a time. Yeah. I don't think I want to dye my hair ever again. I have a lot. You can't tell in like the images here.
No,
I have a ton of white hairs. A ton of white hairs. And I'm feeling the white hairs.
I'm done.
Do you want white hairs though? Like your natural white hairs?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I welcome age. I want white on my beard. I don't have any white on my beard. I have like some orange hairs here and there.
Beard hair. I'm down for whatever.
I want white everything. If I could go like this today and be like salt and pepper, I would be super happy.
I'd be sick. I do actually have some little red hairs here in my beard, which is kind of weird.
I do too. It makes
Imagine I just go full redhead, full red beard. That'd be crazy.
It would be wild.
That's what I should do instead of dyeing it blonde.
Dye red? Just go full gingered.
Go full Sean O'Malley. Well, he doesn't do his beard, but.
By the way, are you gonna let the beard grow too, or are you gonna keep it trimmed down?
Sending it both.
Sending both. Oh, just gonna go full caveman.
Yeah.
Full caveman. You could be caveman. You could be a caveman, and then Bella could be a
so
cavewoman.
You're saying I look like a caveman? Well, that's fucked up. I don't.
It's a good thing.
That.
I think cavemen are a good thing.
You think cavemen are appealing?
Yeah. The sign of male masculinity, all that good stuff.
Nope.
Strength and masculinity and whatnot.
Nope.
No? Not a good thing?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay. I feel like they're a good thing.
Nope.
I think they're a good thing.
I don't even know what you're saying. I'm just saying nope.
I think cavemen look good.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Give me caveman vibes. I think
I'm gonna go in my caveman cave and take a piss. And go to sleep.
Yeah, man. Anything else you want to talk about before you want to give an ooga booga for the crowd?
Ooga booga.
All right. I guess that's a good note to do it.
Have a wonderful night, everyone.
Peace out.